Hi, my name's Caspar, and this is Fresh Skills 101. We're going to do the omelette. So, one of my favorite dishes, and a dish I probably arguably have almost every Saturday or Sunday morning. So we're going to keep it super simple. Lots of people do omelettes in lots of different ways, but this is the best way, okay? Just no argument. So I'm using some Burford brown eggs because they're delicious, but you could use just about any egg you want. Again, fresh eggs really helps, but it doesn't matter too much with an omelette. So my ingredients are eggs. This is going to be a 3-egg omelette. Each egg has about 6 grams of protein, so that's a decent pack of protein that's coming in this dish. Then I've got some lovely butter. I'm going to be using a salted butter for this, or an unsalted one, and just add a little bit of seasoning into it. Basically, the salt just stops that butter from burning as quickly as it would if it was unsalted butter. So starting with that in my pan, and I'm not going to be using any olive oil, and my only other ingredients is a little bit of salt to season it. If I'm going to use pepper, I prefer to lean towards a white pepper, get a little bit more flavor through there, a little bit more aromatic, and also doesn't show up as little black specks throughout the omelette. We're going to keep this super simple. 3 ingredients: eggs, butter, and salt. So 3-egg omelette requires 3 eggs in. Good whisk. I want nice aeration. Don't blend your eggs, whatever you do. It'll completely break down the actual proteins and sort of binding agents within the eggs themselves naturally. Make sure you whisk using either a fork or a nice little whisk like this, but give it a good whisk. You don't need to completely bash it, but to get the right flow in the pan. At this stage, I'm going to start heating up my pan. I'm using an induction top here, so that's going to get hot really quickly. So here's my egg mix. Nice color. That's literally all it is. I don't need to bash it any more than that. Got my butter here. Spatula, I want a nice flat one. There's obviously a couple of different kinds, one with a little round. If you've got a flat one, use that because you want to get under the egg. The rounded one can make it a little bit harder when you're doing that. You don't need an overly small one either. Pan's got a nice flat base, thick base pan, which is really important, mainly for heat distribution. If you put anything cold into a thin bottom pan, it'll drop that temperature so quickly, it makes it a little hard to cook. The same goes for steak, but particularly with an omelette, I want it hitting that pan at a nice medium to high heat. So my butter goes in, should immediately start foaming there. Keeping that off to the side. Decent whack of the butter through there. I probably got a little bit too much butter, but you know what? I like butter. Seasoning straight into here. I'm not adding any milk, but I'm adding a good amount of salt, giving it a lot of flavor and again, helping it bind a little bit. So with this pan, I want it hot enough that that butter really starts to melt, and now it's foaming, see? So coming through, keeping that butter swirling. Egg goes in for my 3-egg omelette. Pan's nice and hot. Getting some heat coming in there. As soon as I start to see some bubbles and some of that lighter egg in the bottom, I start to swirl. So it starts to lift off, a new egg replaces that egg on the bottom, and I've got these little pillows just appearing here. Nice non-stick pan is pretty much essential for an omelette. If you're really skilled and you get the temperature perfect, you can do it in a silver-based pan. So again, I'm bringing it up off the bottom here, taking it around to the sides. I'm going to clean up those sides in a moment. Heat is still high, okay? So I'm medium to high heat. I'm not like hot enough so it's going to burn, but I'm medium to high heat. And I'm swirling, I'm moving that egg around. Okay. Once I've got my base done, egg is still a little uncooked across the top there, I now turn the pan down and I kind of relax. So I want it to swirl as much as possible so I get aeration through the pillowy parts. But the heat needs to come down now because I don't want a heavily colored omelette on the other side. I don't want that kind of dry first eggy texture that can come if I've overcooked before I've gone through here. At this stage, I'm going to start cleaning up my edges. And that literally just means taking it down, and if there's any kind of funky bits, just folding them in from here, kind of neatly popping them over Omelette should really be the last thing you're doing. If you've got toast and other things on the go, you should have already had them done by now. Again, any kind of funny bits, I'm just folding them over so I've got really nice, neat edges. And the heat has come right down, so I'm not panicked. The egg is really starting to cook across the surface here. Okay, take my plate. Toast should now be on the plate. Avocado's now on the plate. Grilled mushrooms on the plate, anything like that. If I'm gonna have a filling, I'm adding it around now or once I've finished with those folds. Okay, so now I've got that egg there. It's nice and soft. And now I'm gonna get underneath this guy and I'm gonna fold over. At this point, you should get a nice little waft of delicious cooked egg and butter. I've got a tiny little bit of brown on my egg. That's okay. And at this stage, I can kind of move him around that pan a little bit. It should be moving nicely in the pan here. Start by popping the spatula under this end, and then I just slide it out onto the plate. Omelette slid out perfectly onto the plate there. It's glistening, it's nice and fresh. Everything else should already be ready. This guy shouldn't be sat around right now. This is the time to eat it. And with my fork is really what you can eat an omelette with. I can just easily push down through there. And what you can see is just the layers from those folds, and it's still glistening and a little juicy inside there. And you've got those nice folds right through there, so there's some aeration and it's really, really soft to eat. It should just completely melt like a little eggy pillow in your mouth. Enjoy.